In version 2.44 we have some new tools for refining meshes. If you have a low resolution mesh and you want to use the paint tool, you might find there is not enough detail and not enough vertices in the mesh to give you the detail that you want from the fasces painting. So you can add more vertices into a mesh to mitigate that problem. So let's have a look how we do this. Here's a fairly low resolution outcrop model. I can go to my triangular mesh group and select wireframe, and I can now see the structure of the mesh in detail. So let's zoom in on part of the model, and we'll select an area where we have some quite big triangles. So let's look at this bit here. Sorry, let's find a nice big triangle. Yeah, these will do. This sort of section here, we've got some quite big triangles in that bit there. Right, we can use our from the home menu and the move button. This is a split button. There's a new mode in here called interrogate, where we can find out information about individual triangles in a mesh. So I'm going to select that one, and it tells me the size of that triangle is 0.066 meters squared. We can use that now as a guide for the tessellation. So how does the tessellation work? Right, so let's just zoom in on this. So there are two ways in which we can tessellate our mesh or our triangles, or improve the resolution of them. There's one called tessellate inner, and that looks at the area of a triangle. It takes triangles greater than a certain area that you define, put a vertex in the center and split the triangle up from the center. So one triangle gets divided into three, and that is based on the area of the triangle. So that's tessellate inner. We can also have a mode called tessellate outer, which works on by defining the maximum edge length that you want, and any triangle greater than that edge length, it will split the triangle up by the edges, approximately like that. So instead of splitting the triangle into three as we had with the tessellate inner, tessellate outer will split the triangle into four smaller triangles, and the split is done based on the length of an edge rather than the area of a triangle. So let's go back to our mesh. So we had 0.066, so I'm going to do tessellate inner. Operations, it's in refine mesh, tessellate inner, and I'm going to use 0.065. It says tessellate triangles with areas greater than, that should be meters squared, 0.65. When you do that, it tells you how many triangles are going to be refined. So let's go OK, and we'll watch our triangles, and we should see this triangle here. There we go, it gets split into three, and that's the tessellate inner. Right, so let's, if you've decided you've made a mistake, you can always go back by going to reload mesh, and this will reload the mesh to its last save state. It takes a moment or two because it has to reload the whole mesh back in. So that was tessellate inner. We can now use tessellate outer, so tessellate the mesh based on the length of the triangle edges. So to do that, we can again use our interrogate tool to select a triangle, and it will tell us what the edge length is. We can use that now as a guide to decide which triangles we want to refine. So I'm going to right click, operations, refine mesh, and this time we'll use tessellate outer, and I'm going to use 0.35. And what we should find is we give it a moment or two to run, and now we've tessellated that triangle based on the length of the outer edges. So we've added in three new vertices and generated 3 new triangles. So we've got 4 triangles where we had 1. And again, if we decide we've over tessellated or it's not what we want, we can always go back to reload mesh and go back to the last version. If we then switch off our wireframe and zoom out, we should now see that there's no perceivable difference in the mesh itself, but we've got extra data in there, extra points within the mesh that makes the paint tool work better.